Now, y'all scouts, correct me, okay? It used to be back in the olden days that you became a Boy Scout, what, about age 11, is that right? Yes, no? Yes, okay. And so if you want to be an Eagle, it takes at least 2 years to be an Eagle, is that right? Because you got to have time and rank for each of the ranks along the way. Is it still that way? Okay, maybe. Okay, they might still say this in the Scout Handbook. Do they still do Scout Handbooks? Okay, so it might stay in there. And so if you start at 11 and it takes at least 2 years, then in theory, you could get your Eagle at 13. Is that math good? I'm not saying is it easy. I'm saying if you start at 11 and it takes 2 years, that you can get your Eagle at 13. Is my math correct? Thank you. Okay. Now, let's say that you're 15 and you decide, I'm going to be an Eagle. Can you do it? Okay. If you're 16 and you decide, I'm going to be an Eagle, can you do it? If you're 17 and you say, I want to be an Eagle, can you do it? Well, if you're already a star or a life, maybe. But if you're 18, no, it's too late. The window of opportunity has closed. Those of us that are here today, some of us, if we're young enough, we can go be Boy Scouts. Some of us, if we're young enough, can say, I want to be an Eagle. And we can pull it off. Others of us, that window of opportunity has closed. Or maybe we can think about education for a minute. If you decide in first grade, I want to be valedictorian of high school, can you do it? Okay. How about if you decide, if you wait a few years and you wait till 5th grade and you say, I want to be valedictorian, can you pull it off? Let's say you're like me and it's the time you're a junior in high school that you find out there is such a thing as a valedictorian. Can you pull it off? Probably not. The window of opportunity is open for a while, and then it closes. Here in Numbers 13 and 14, and y'all may have noticed, Ian only read a little portion of them both, because we'd still be standing here listening to him if we read the whole passage. Now, you really need to read the whole passage to get the whole story. The idea is that God has brought the Israelites out of Egypt. Anybody remember what they were doing in Egypt? Were they on vacation? Were they cruising the Nile, seeing the pyramids? They were slaves. They were oppressed. God delivers them from Egypt, from the land of slavery, brings them out. They get on the tour buses and they go up to the promised land, right? No. Okay, they're going across the desert and they come to this body of water. Anybody remember what that body of water is called? Is it the Blue Sea? Green Sea? Red Sea. They come up to the Red Sea, and fortunately there's a nice bridge right there, and they walk across the bridge, right? No. There's no bridge. There's no boats. There's no tunnel. But behind them are the Egyptians that are grouchy because they let them go, and they want to get their slaves back. So here you are. You're the Israelites right there at the Red Sea, and the Egyptian army is behind you, and you know you're in trouble. God, at that point, opened the Red Sea and made dry ground for them to go through. Now, we might say, oh, there's a natural explanation for the sea move, and yeah, the wind was just blowing the right way. But dry ground? Come on. God did a miracle to get them through. And then they're out there in the desert. They get beyond the salty Red Sea, and they're thirsty. Did they just go up to the water fountain there and say, hey, it's my turn to get at the water fountain? No. God brought water out of a rock for them. Or they're hungry, so they go to Walmart or Kroger to get their food, right? No. God brings manna from heaven for them to eat. Over and over again, God's protecting them, God's delivering them, God's showing what He can do. So here in Numbers 13, they get to the very edge of the promised land. And God has them get some spies together. Any of y'all aspire to be spies? Maybe it's not the best career decision right now. And get one from each of the 12 tribes. So if you get one spy from each of the 12 tribes, how many spies do you have? 12. Easy math, right? See, not all math is hard. And so the 12 spies, they go throughout all the land, and they see that it is really good. It's fruitful. It is indeed how God described it, a land flowing with milk and honey. But there's a problem. There's big guys there. There's unfriendly big guys there. And the spies come back, and at least 10 of them say, man, we felt like grasshoppers there. We felt like little bugs. And they thought we were little bugs too. Any of y'all ever seen a little bug? Any of you ever in your inhumanity done that to a little bug? Yeah. Maybe it's not an insect. Maybe it's a spider. Now, how would it feel if it was the other way around? If you were the little guy and the spider was the big guy? You wouldn't want to go there. That's how the Israelites feel. But you see, their problem was God did not send the spies out to decide whether they were going to go in the land or not. The spies were sent out to see how good it was. They, however, got the idea, we're going up to the land, we're going to see what it is, and then we're going to vote. And their vote was, the window of opportunity is closed. I mean, it's obvious. It's dangerous. It's not safe. How about we just go back to Egypt? I mean, Egypt was relatively easy. Sure, we were slaves, but our taskmasters gave us food to eat, and it wasn't dangerous, Moses. Come on, let's go back to Egypt. Have any of y'all read the Bible enough to know what God's thought about that was? Was God's thoughts, okay, I'll give y'all a while to decide? Did God say, okay, yeah, I know you took your vote, and I really respect your autonomy here, so yeah, y'all just go ahead and think about it a little bit more. When the spies came back and reported, when they came to their conclusion that night that they weren't going to go up, God said, okay, the window is closed. No more window of opportunity. It is too late. You're going to have to wander for 40 years. Have any of you ever had a time in your life where something happened, maybe something you did or something that just happened, and you felt like you were wandering? Maybe for a week, maybe for a month, maybe for a year. How about 40 years? That's a long time to wander. And the problem was the decision that the majority made stood for everybody. So when you have Moses and Aaron and Caleb and Joshua at least saying, we can do it, God is faithful, we can go up there, the window of opportunity is from God, we can go do it. When the window closed because of the disobedience and unfaithfulness of the majority, everybody suffered. Moses didn't get to go into the promised land. Aaron didn't get to go to the promised land. Caleb and Joshua did, but they had to wait 40 years. We see this also at various times in Christian history. Now think of John Wesley, the progenitor of the Methodist movement. In 1739, 1740, his friend George Whitefield had been preaching in Bristol, England. And George had decided that he's going to go to America again and preach some evangelistic crusades. And so he wrote his buddy John and said, "Hey, John, I'm having a fruitful ministry here in Bristol. Why don't you come and take it over?" If you're a preacher or if you're an evangelist, that sounds pretty good, doesn't it? But the problem was that George was preaching in the wrong place. He was preaching outdoors. He wasn't preaching in a consecrated church building. That's what John Wesley had grown up with. You're supposed to preach in consecrated church buildings because that's where God's going to bless it, right? But John Wesley decided, okay, I think this might be a window of opportunity from God. And he went to Bristol against his better judgment and experienced an outpouring of the Spirit on the crowds there that kept going the rest of his life as he traveled all over England preaching 4 or 5 times a day, mostly outdoors. And people heard and responded. The window of opportunity was open and he went through it. 35 years ago, I had a window of opportunity to go to California and work on an advanced degree. There were people around me that thought I was crazy. Here you are, you have a wife and 2 little kids. What are you doing to take them to California? Don't you know what kind of people live in California? I mean, sometimes here in Texas, those people in California get a reputation. They're just strange. But me, guess where I was born? California. I wasn't afraid of them. They're just people. They said, "You're crazy. Here you have this nice, cushy job." At that time, I was associate pastor at a church down in Baytown on the east side of Houston. And they tell me, if only you stay as an associate pastor and work really hard and try to become a good old boy, then eventually they'll appoint you to a bigger church and eventually you'll be able to pay your bills and make a living. You're guaranteed an appointment. But I went to California. Took my wife and kids, and it was for us an adventure of faith as we went through that window of opportunity. We had to learn over and over again what it was to trust God. The first place that we found to live was an apartment in Santa Ana, Orange County, near LA, and the monthly rent was only $5 more than my monthly salary. More math. How do you like that math? And yet, God took care of us. God showed himself strong because we went through that window of opportunity. Too often, we look at the opportunities before us and we see challenges. We see impossibilities. We see reasons that we can't do it, reasons that we know it won't work. And we say, "Oh, thank you, Lord, for showing me that opportunity." But it is clear that the window is now closed. How do we figure out whether a window is open or closed? It's not by looking at its safety. It's not by looking at its ease. It's by listening to God. It comes out of our relationship with God as we spend time listening to Jesus, as we spend time in his word, as we spend time discerning who he is and what he's about, then we can learn to see a window of opportunity for what it is, and we can go through it. Identifying windows of opportunity is based on relationship. Think about Jesus in the Garden of Gethsemane. It's the night he's going to be arrested. He knows what's going to come next. He knows the people are going to reject him. He knows they're going to put him on trial. He knows they're going to beat him. He knows they're going to nail him to a cross to die. He knows all that. And yet, what does he pray in the Garden of Gethsemane? Father, not my will, but your will be done. Jesus doesn't say, okay, here's a window of opportunity. I can go into Jerusalem tonight. I can stay here. I can follow the way I've been going. But is it safe? Will it make me happy? Is it something I'm used to? Will I be comfortable? Jesus didn't ask any of those questions. Jesus' question was, Father, what do you want? Father, is this an opportunity for me? And Jesus went through with it, even though it led to the cross. With Jesus, with the Israelites, with John Wesley, with ourselves, we need to watch the relationship. Now, not everything that we might recognize as an opportunity is a good one. I know there are times you might be in a store and you're thinking, ooh, nobody's watching. I can take this thing. I know when I was about 5, we were there at a store there when we lived in California, and there was this table that was full of clothes. Now, if you're looking at a table full of clothes, what do you expect to find on the table? Clothes. Well, I as a little kid, was pushing my hand through there, and I found something that wasn't clothes. It was a little plastic toy saw. And my judgment as a 5-year-old was, oh, this is a table of clothes for sale. This is not clothes, so therefore I should take it. I have an opportunity. Do you know what you call that? You just take it? Stealing. And I got home later and my mom said, what is that? Where'd you get that? And I tried my logic on her. Ended up having to go back to the store and apologize and repent, because what I thought was a window of opportunity was not. Some of us in the next 3 months, we're going to have an opportunity to do our taxes. Oh boy. We might have opportunities to exaggerate this or play down that and just cheat a little bit, because everybody's doing it, right? We have the opportunity, and we're not giving as much money to the IRS because they come after people, and if they're not going to come after us, I can get away with it, right? It's a window of opportunity. But it's not a good one. We learn to recognize windows of opportunity out of our relationship with God, not just stuff that happens around us. Some of us today have windows of opportunity that are before us. For some of us, it's with our children. Some of us have children or grandchildren. You know they're not going to be kids forever. You know they're going to grow up. You have a window of opportunity with them now to influence them. You have a window of opportunity now to build a healthy, loving relationship with them. You can't say, okay, I'm working all the time now, but when I retire, then kid, then I'll build a relationship with you. By that time, it's highly likely the window of opportunity will be closed. And anybody know that old song, Cats in the Cradle and the Silver Spoon? If you want to feel cheery about working all the time and ignoring your kids, do not listen to that song. Or education. Some of you have the opportunity to receive an education. Anybody here in school? Anybody in school willingly? I mean, if they didn't make you go, if they didn't say you had to go, would you go? And yet you have an opportunity to get an education. Now, I was talking to one of the scouts this morning, and this scout said that he'd taken 4 years of Spanish. You know how much Spanish he says he knows now? It may or may not be the case, students, that you're at school, that the system is giving you what you need. But you have an opportunity now that if your teachers aren't teaching you, to say, teacher, they make me sit here every day, so you need to do a better job teaching me, because otherwise I'm wasting my time. I know we're not supposed to say that or think that way, but they hold us accountable. We need to hold them accountable. When I was teaching, I told my students, if I'm not giving you something of value as you spend thousands of dollars going into debt to get this degree, you need to tell me. If it's too easy, tell me and I'll make it harder so you can get your money's worth. Because you have a window of opportunity now. Are there any adults here? I don't know what you're going to say. Are there any adults here that now, as adults, you wish you'd gotten an education? Raise your hand if you're one of those adults. There's a few of them here. We're faced by windows of opportunity. Some of us have a window of opportunity to share Jesus with the people around us. It might even be that God has put a person on your heart and you can't get them out of your mind. You think about them when you lay down at night. You think about them when you're driving, and you can't get them off your heart. And God has now given you a window of opportunity to share Jesus. That window of opportunity might be open now, might not be open tomorrow, next week, or next year. We face windows of opportunity. But we also face it as a church, as the people of God. Israel, as a people, faced a window of opportunity. That window of opportunity was open for a short time, and then because they disobeyed, it closed. We as a church face a window of opportunity to reach the rising generations. Are we going to do it? Are we going to say, other churches will do it? Or are we going to say, oh no, we might have to change something? We might have to do something we're not comfortable with. Or there might be people coming that aren't like us. When we say things like that, the window of opportunity is closing. Some of us today, we're faced with the window of opportunity to give our lives to Jesus. You've heard it in churches throughout your life. You've been to, those of you students, they have special events at schools. You hear about Jesus. You say, I'll do that next time. I'll do that someday. I'll do it when the kids are grown. I'll do it when I retire. Oh, so many excuses. The window is open, but not forever. Will you go through the window of opportunity that God is setting before you today? Father, I thank you so much that you love us and that you open windows of opportunity for us. Help us today to recognize the windows of opportunity that you've brought us here and now. And give us the faith to go through them, taking you by the hand, knowing that we can't do it without you. Amen.